Okay, hey everybody. So today in the 182 class, we want to expand a little bit on what we started last week with your first assignment. So remember, one of the goals of this class, one of my overarching or bigger learning outcomes, if you will, or goals of the entire semester in the 182 light and color class, is to open up your vision. Right? Open up your vision and look beyond what is there, right? We talked about that before, that this is a marker. No big deal. But if you photograph this, on a background that doesn't have a lot of distractions to it, that you can photograph this maybe vertically and kind of tight, this is the letter I, right? So as we begin to, open up our vision and look a little deeper, because, right, there's a transformation that occurs, right, when you put this up to your face. The first thing that happens is, you lose an eyeball, right? Because you've got one eye in the camera. Help if I can focus this up there, that's better. All right, you got one eye in the camera, so you lose some of your depth perception. Right? So we're going from two eyes to one eye. We're going from 3 dimensions to 2 dimensions, right? So, it's just one of the things to be aware of or notice when we start looking at what happens when we put the camera up to our eye and begin to frame a subject, right? So the other aspect of looking up about opening up your vision. So last week we did numbers, right? And I'm going to look at those in just a few minutes when I get done with this video. So one of the more interesting things to look at as we look at objects around a room or in our life or outside is that, back a long time ago, we either had this idea of like really long time ago, thousands of years ago, right? We had this idea of, do we fight or do we run? Fight or flight syndrome, right? Or not syndrome, fight or flight response. So one of the things that, early man looked to recognize very quickly are faces. Where is their face? And it's funny because faces are everywhere. They're in all kinds of objects and in all kinds of locations, right? Even in buildings or architecture. So I've got a couple of short videos that I'll put in the Canvas shell for you to watch from other people that I've gotten off of YouTube. And then for you guys to look at producing for next week's assignment, five faces in obviously different objects. Right? Now the only one, I used to have one sitting here, I don't think I have it sitting here handy. The only one I don't want you to shoot, do I have one sitting here? No, I thought I did. The only thing I don't want you to take a picture of is an electrical outlet. Because that's just kind of easy, right? You got the 2 eyes and the mouth, right? So you can't take a picture of an electrical outlet. But there's lots of other things that you can look at and find that look like faces. So your job is to continue this early exploration into opening up your vision and looking at abstract subjects, right? And when you photograph them correctly, or when you photograph them appropriately, they take on a new meaning, or they have a new context, or the fact that you've now removed them from a bigger context and photographed them closer, right? They become what looks like a face. Now, we don't have to have exactly, 2 eyes, a nose, and a mouth. Sometimes just 2 eyes and a mouth are enough to convey the idea. And what shape is that? Oh, yeah, it's a triangle. Triangles are very important in photography. So look for faces. So I want 5 faces, excuse me, of different objects that you find around the house, or that you find out walking around, or that you find out, kind of in the woods, or wherever you're going to go for a walk. And you'd be surprised at where you can find faces. They're everywhere. You just have to look for them, right? So, remember that, we've talked about some of what your long-term assignments are last week, right? With your 2 sets of letters, right? Those are an abstract look into photography, to create letters out of objects and shapes. So this is the same idea. So it's to start to get you on the path, if you will, towards looking at other objects and look for faces, okay? So I think we're pretty good for that. So 5 faces for next week, okay? Does that sound good? And then the following week, we'll start to get and do more of a review. So we'll start off with, f-stops and ISOs and shutter speeds, and I'll do the little chart on the board. And we'll kind of really start to get into kind of more of a review of the Photo 180 class. And then we'll start going into new directions. I'm hopeful that we can get back together. I see that schools are K through 8, I think, have been meeting. So hopefully we can get back together at least once in a while, and we can do some things in the classroom that are extraordinarily difficult for me to do with you via video. So we have a couple of larger subject matters coming up in about a month time, and it would be really nice to be able to see you guys face to face to go over those. So in the meantime, we're going to continue doing it this way, and we'll see what we can come up with. But next week we start with, what is a stop, f-stop, shutter speeds, ISOs. We're going to start to go full on into the review process of all the basic camera functions. That'll only take 2 weeks, and then we'll start moving in a different direction. We'll start looking at light meters and exposure. And hopefully by then we can get back together, because we have a testing day that we do in the studio. It'd be really hard for you guys to do at home. So hopefully we can get back in the studio and do the testing day, and then I can give you some other things to do, and then we'll do some more things on video, and then hopefully back together again in another 2 or 3 or 4 weeks after that. So that's kind of my plan, that we hopefully can get back together and do some of the larger assignments and some of the better, more fun type topics that we can do in class, okay, where we can have access to good computers and and things of that nature. So that's the plan, and so I'll see you next week. Remember, you can always stop by my Zoom meeting. I only had 2 students this morning. It's from 10 to 11 on Tuesday mornings. The Zoom link is in Canvas, and it's in announcements. Okay, in addition, I sent out a group-wide email the other day that has that announcement in it, or has that link in it. But you can always find it in Canvas under the Announcements tab. I think it's the second one down in the announcements is my Zoom link, and that's a continuing, reoccurring Zoom link. So you just copy that once, and you should be good to get in. Okay. And you should have access to all the folders, and hopefully tomorrow on campus I can start making the assignment folders and put those in your under your names, so you can see kind of what's coming in the next few weeks. Okay, so obviously the title of this folder, if I don't get a chance to make it, is Faces, right? Your 5 5 faces for next week, okay? And those are due by Tuesday at, roughly around noon. Okay? All right, cool. See you later. Bye.